Man, it has been a while since I last dove into Revelation Online, like 2 years, 2.5 years, I think, and honestly, not much has changed, unfortunately. MrsStix and I were feeling a little nostalgic, I guess. See, Revelation was an MMO we both played shortly before getting together. It was an MMO we never really got to experience with one another, yet we both had fond memories of a beautiful world filled with things to do and places to explore. Now, with this in mind, we decided it was as good an opportunity as any to download the game and try it out together. You know, see how it plays in 2019 going into 2020. These are my thoughts and impressions on the way to level like 40, 41. There are 7 classes in total: the Occultist, the Spirit Shaper, the Vanguard, the Assassin, the Blade Master, the Gunslinger, and the Sword Mage. I wanted to go Sword Mage because they not only look like a badass class to play, but also because I'm a huge fan of mage classes, so naturally, that's pretty much it. I ended up begrudgingly opting for Vanguard because I wanted to tank dungeons for the wife and I. I felt like, you know, since she went Occultist, having 2 mage would probably make for impossible dungeons. I remember back when Revelation launched, I was thoroughly impressed by the character creation, and while I still am, and don't get me wrong, the character creator is very good, providing a lot of customization over my character, it just isn't nearly to the same degree as I once was, I guess. I just felt that overall, I didn't really have the control over my body or my face that I wanted, but nevertheless, I made a pretty damn good looking dude, if I do say so myself. He looks just like me. Then came the tutorial zone and the realization that the combat was not action, but instead a really unusual hybrid of both action and tab target. I'd honestly forgotten that that was actually a thing. It has been so long since I even touched Revelation that I'd completely omitted that from memory. And man, the whole talk to people using your F key and then finish the conversation you're having with your spacebar key, man, that was grating. The tutorial zone was the same as always. This kid tries to kill you, this pervy kid is into this chick over here, we all sit around a campfire singing Kumbaya, you know. Then the island we're on is attacked, and boom, the end. We saved everyone and depart for a grand adventure. It was at this point that I began to pay less attention to the story, mainly because it was gated along with progression advancement itself behind level requirements. I cannot stress how strongly I dislike content being level gated. By the time we hit level 20, we had finished both the orange and the yellow quests, meaning that all we could do to level further was to do dailies that required a party of at least 3 people or dungeons, which, yeah. We tried dungeons, just the 2 of us, and we got our asses handed to us on a platter. And the platter looked like it hadn't been washed in a very, very long time, which may or may not be due to the population issues the game has currently. I'm not really fond of dailies, not since Mists of Pandaria and World of Warcraft ruined them for me, but putting a group size requirement on dailies that are all but a necessity to advance is, well, it makes it a lot more difficult. But we continued on, even in the face of adversity. Finally, we managed to find a group actually running dailies that would help us get past level 25, and at last, be capable of actually progressing. This group took us to the Seeking Spirits daily quest, which, even after finishing it, I am still not sure exactly what happened. See, I'm assuming everyone else had this weird permanent auto-follow feature thing going on the group leader whenever we weren't actually engaged in combat, and I couldn't really figure out how to disable that other than moving, but then it would reactivate itself after a moment of inactivity anyway. So I just, you know, like pulled out my phone, went on YouTube, and watched YouTube videos whenever I wasn't actively engaged in combat. By the time MrsStix and I had finished all of the available dailies with the help of the aforementioned group, we were level 36. That was a significant boost considering we were, what, like level 22, I think maybe level 23 when we'd started. We'd figured that we would have plenty to do now, since surely the story wouldn't catch up to us that quickly, right? If only that were true. You're gated behind being level 40 to continue, so yeah. After a long while, we managed to actually hit level 40 and continue with the story some more. But at level 41, we decided that it was just time to call it a day. We hadn't seen anyone around while leveling, we hadn't really seen anyone around while questing. There was like the occasional message in a chat window by someone talking in world chat, but otherwise the chat was completely silent. We tried doing dungeons, but the two of us together just couldn't tackle the difficulty we wanted, and there was nobody ever available to party and run them with. We'd also hit a level capable of participating in PvP, but we just couldn't find anyone queuing for PvP. Like, there were even mentions in World Chat asking for people to queue for PvP so that they would actually have someone to fight. Like, seriously, that right there, that is a sign of a very dead game. Revelation Online is a damn good looking game. The environments are absolutely stunning. I don't think I've ever met anyone that can actually say that Revelation looks ugly. Like, the combat, it was highly disappointing for me overall, having only a couple of actual skills by level 40. The mostly tab target combat with the illusion of action themes, I don't know, it really confused me and left me wanting more out of it. But overall, it wasn't terrible. I have experienced much worse. Level gating content is a very poor design choice. I know it's tactically done in WoW and Final Fantasy XIV and other large games, but normally if you do the main story and you do the odd dungeon here or there, you're typically going to remain ahead. That may or may not be the case here. When the game was packed with players, it may have been much easier to level as you'd have groups forming for content regularly. However, with the current state of the player base, which is very likely only a small handful of people playing, the new player experience is admittedly and regrettably one of the worst I've seen. Blade and Soul and Terra both have easy progression, and while I believe that there should be a challenge involved in actually progressing through a game, I would take easy over impossible any day. The game is set in a giant open world. When opening the map and seeing that there are literally no boundaries stopping you from going anywhere or doing anything, you can't help but just be taken over by this sense of adventure and exploration. Yet the game world itself is empty and void of personality. The environments are absolutely stunning, yet there's nothing to do in them. Yes, you can pick up the odd side quest here or there, but for the most part, you can either auto-path directly to your quest objective or fly manually, typically in a very straight, very linear fashion to your quest objective. Either way, the game does not in any form promote exploration. Once I had obtained my wings, I thought to myself, oh dude, this is sweet. Now I can just fly out and I don't know, just do whatever I want to do. When in reality, what I was left with was a very linear progression system. Revelation Online could have been an amazing game. Could have been the keywords here. Instead, what we got was an auto-pathing MMO simulator. Don't get me wrong here, I'm not hating on the game. There are parts of this game that are truly outstanding, but the majority of it is just very underwhelming. If someone were to ask me if I could recommend Revelation in 2019, I would have to say no. The player base is all but gone. The combat, the performance issues, the level gating, and the lack of content are all still very present. The developers and the publishers both continue to every so often release new content, but they seem to lack, I guess, the knowledge on how to go about fixing the fundamental flaws that prevent the game from actually being a good MMORPG. So while I did enjoy playing through this with my wife initially, as we continued our journey, it became a kind of a convoluted mess of, wait, so what exactly are we doing now? And okay, let's just wait here and see if anyone wants to group up. So is Revelation Online worth playing in 2019? I don't believe it is. I'm sorry for those of you that play the game, but getting to endgame is one of the biggest chores I have ever seen, and I've hit endgame in quite a few MMOs over my life of playing in the genre. If you want to try the game out for yourself, though, you're more than welcome to take a look and see if your opinions mirror my own. While I would love to continue further into the game so I could see what endgame is like, I just don't think I have the patience to wait for the almost non-existent groups to form for all the content gated behind level requirements. But that's just my opinion, my first impression of the game. What do you guys think? Did you enjoy it when you played it? Do you still actively enjoy it? Will you try it out, or do you even want to? Let me know in the comments below and let's talk about it. Anyway guys, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Peace. Bye. Bye.
My green thumbs are better in the bedroom. Make you singing in falsetto.